Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and I'm here to talk to you about a Leeds United based sponsor on the channel, teamwallart.com. The link is in the description. Worldwide shipping, and it's unbelievable, guys. As I've told you before, this is the sort of stuff that you can get from these guys. My favourites on the end here, accused of everything, guilty of nothing since 1919. You can get this one for $5.99 if you buy another one for $7.99, and I did that. I've got the one of Marcelo Bielsa here, a beautiful image, really good quality as well, by the way, and of course the title winning boys. Some really good stuff on there, guys. As I said, the link is in the description. I went to these guys. I love this sort of stuff, and they are Leeds United fans. Go check it out. Enjoy the video. Yes, everybody, how are we doing? I hope you're doing fantastically well. We are back here with the live stream after the fact. Leeds United drawing with Chelsea. I'm having to hold my mic today. The thing's snapped, so I'm having to hold it. So I apologise if I look like John Motson, but it's just going to have to happen for this stream and this stream only. Get your comments in anyway. As I say, I hope you're all doing fantastically well. A lot of people talking about Fulham already, which is interesting. Well, hey, Conor and Brownie, looking forward to your comments. Mr. Tyler Roberts is waiting in the midst. He's there. He's already got his I Hate Tyler top on after today's great performance from Tyler Roberts. But we're going to get him in now. As I say, guys, I hope you're doing really well. Brownie, he's in. Here he is. How you doing, mate? Okay.
Yeah, good, mate. Good point, wasn't it? Very good point. I'm loving the Tyler Roberts loving. Even though we didn't score a goal, but we're still getting a Tyler Roberts loving. But yeah, good performance from Roberts. I thought he was our best attacking player. I thought Rafinha was a bit off it. I thought Rodrigo was off it. Unfortunate injury to Bamford. But I thought defensively we were just really solid. I think Dallas's game went under the radar quite a lot. He just sat in front of that back four and really helped to stabilise the midfield.
Yeah, I guess probably the best thing to get onto immediately, Brownie, is, well, we won't get onto that first because we're going to have to come to that in a bit. But in terms of the point overall, you must be happy with it.
Oh, massive, yeah. I mean, I think I predicted a point, didn't I, mate? I think I predicted that.
I swear you said 4-1 Chelsea.
No, that was off there, mate. No, but what did I say? Never back the early kickoff. There's always the early kickoff is the coupon buster. But yeah, I mean, we backed it, but we never in our wildest dreams thought we'd get something from the game. I mean, I think I tweeted on the kickoff game when they put the benches up on the BT game today. The bench that they had was quite frankly a joke in comparison to ours. I mean, it's a point against Chelsea. We've had a point against Man City. We've beaten Leicester away. They're all in the top four. We're competing with the top four in our first year in the Premier League.
Yeah, and obviously, you can throw Arsenal in there as well, which was another brilliant draw. But I thought today was a sort of different performance. I mean, when you saw the lineup, mate, and you saw the likes of Pascal and Diego Llorente, I think my initial thoughts were I was fine with it. I mean, from what I've seen, obviously with Pascal, I'm one of his biggest fans, but Llorente, I'm not quite sold on him as of yet. But today was a massive step in the right direction. I thought he was one of the best players on the pitch, if not the best player.
Yeah, it was good to see. I mean, I think Graham Smythe tweeted it was our 13th centre-back pairing of the season, which is quite frankly bonkers. It was good to see them two together because obviously as we are safe this year, we're not in any danger of going down. So it is good to see these combinations going into next season. A chance for Struijk and Llorente to play together, and they've kept out a multitude of millions of pounds in attacking talent from Chelsea, kept a clean sheet.
Yeah. But you were all right with it.
I don't know about you, but do you think we looked a bit, from set pieces, we looked a little bit more solid? Is that, we mentioned Struijk being the dominant defender from set pieces, and I think it showed today again. We didn't really look in any danger of conceding a set piece, apart from one, I think, in the first half where Rodrigo was on his own on the penalty spot, where trickle through to. But other than that, I felt like we were pretty solid from set pieces, to be fair, today.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, mate. I thought we were brilliant from set pieces. They didn't really cause us a threat. And we have to think of the last time we played them. Listen, I know they didn't have the likes of Giroud on the pitch and Zuma, who were the big threats. And they don't utilise that anymore, which is interesting from a Chelsea point of view because, their aerial threat at the start was unbelievable in the Premier League. But that seems to have dissipated a little bit under Tuchel. But yeah, I tell you what, mate. Yeah, we were definitely sturdier, weren't we? And it was a really interesting game because I'm looking back on it, and I am just thinking. I mean, we'll go through it chronologically, so we'll talk about the first half first, obviously. But overall, I'm sort of looking at that game and thinking we could have won that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, now the game's finished. I mean, towards the last 20, 25 minutes, we were thinking, oh, bloody hell, we get the game done. We want a point. But when you think of that second half, Havertz shot aside where, I don't know where Phillips was wandering to, where Havertz was just left on his own and Meliers pulled off a good save. Other than that point-blank save, I can't think of any other clear-cut chances that Chelsea had in that second half. It was very, you've got the ball type thing, but the real chances fell to us in that second half.
Yeah, definitely. No, it was a solid performance, mate. What did you think of that first half as well? Because, I mean, we weren't... I mean, I think, if it was a boxing match, maybe they'd have just edged it overall. But, that's how I sometimes judge it when it's a stalemate, but it doesn't really matter. But in that first half, how were you judging it? I mean, it was sort of a decent start, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think first half, I thought they dominated us, to be fair. There were quite a few times where I thought Pulisic was getting in behind Alioski quite a bit. They seemed to be running at us and playing them slide balls through. First half, I think it was imperative that we got to half time 0-0. I know Robert hit the bar, but other than that first half, I can't really think of too much that we really had. It was a very big. We said it in the preview about a tactical. That obviously Havertz played as a false nine, and it was interesting to see how it went. And we were very, very man-to-man today. There was times where Ayling was wandering, following Mason Mount, really to the other side of the pitch. There was one point where Ayling was our furthest man forward because he'd gone man for man that much. First half, I thought we coped with it better second half. I thought first half, it was a bit like Stamford Bridge where they were moving it so quick and we were like, oh my God, a bit like a bit in headlights for a little bit. But getting to half time, not conceding was huge. And that second half, like you say, we more than matched them in that second half.
Yeah, I think as well, you've got to give a bit of plaudits to the opposition. I mean, this is a team who, I mean, they're world class, aren't they, Brownie? And you can just tell even on our pitch, where a lot of opposition maybe struggled to put 2, 3, 4 or 5 passes together in sequences. Chelsea were doing it for fun, weren't they, in that first half?
Yeah, which confuses me because Tuchel came out and blamed the pitch, but it wasn't a problem from the first half because they were popping it about left, right, and centre. So managers are like, they deflect as much as you want. If I was a Chelsea fan, I don't think I'd have been happy with that today, second half. I've had it with what was on the pitch, second half. If I was a Chelsea fan, I'd have expected more.
Yeah, definitely. Especially, and we have to say it, don't we, Brownie? This is a full-strength Chelsea side, as it was against us last time. I think Pulisic was just coming back from injury at that point, but he did feature. It was another. I don't think they've got a player out. I think they might have one player out from Tuchel's. No, it's 2, isn't it? They've got Tammy Abraham and someone else who hasn't been featuring at all. But this is a Leeds side once again. Our captain was taken from the lineup right at the start. Obviously, we had Bamford going off throughout the game, so. We've got Rodrigo who's gingerly coming back into the lineup. But, overall, we're being smacked. Robin Cox not featuring either at this moment in time. So we're a massively injury-hit squad. And to play a team like that and to come away with anything it's massive.
Yeah. Like I was saying then about if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd have probably been disappointed with that second half. You've got to flip it around and maybe say, well, do you know what? Leeds were very defensively well organised. We were forcing them. They didn't really cut through the middle of us, which is, again, another pat on the back to Strike and Llorente. But I think Phillips and Dallas in there as well really protected them really well. I was a little bit concerned when we were starting to drop deeper and deeper and deeper, but that's only natural. When you're playing a top team, they're going to have a lot of the ball. And it was one of them where obviously we don't draw many games, do we? It was one of them where towards the end you could see us actually going through it a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Go on.
At one point, the game started to get really open, and I remember saying to me, "Oh, I don't like this. It's getting too stretched for my liking." But overall, in the balance of play, I don't think Chelsea can say we didn't deserve a point. I mean, Rafinha, I thought he'd scored. To be honest, I thought he'd hooked it back across Mendy. It's an unbelievable save. We've had the one disallowed.
I couldn't believe that, mate, when he saved that. I mean, that really was world class. But once again, I thought even our man between the sticks was very good today, wasn't he? Melia, probably a great shout out to him. Come and collected some balls, looked very, very good.
Yeah, he did. There was one in particular. Was it just before on the stroke of half time where he came and collected it really high? But then when you think of his saves, yes, they've had shots from outside the box from 25, 30 yards, but real clear-cut chances for Chelsea. I can only think of the Havertz one, which just shows how well we've shut them out. Yeah,
definitely. When Bamford went off, we sort of fearing the worst. I mean, Rodrigo kind of went into that role, and I don't know about you, mate, but it's almost bizarre that he plays number 9 for Spain. I mean, I saw a stats from, I think it was LUFC data or some something like that, and they were essentially saying, look at the movement of Chelsea now within their back line. They're able to move so much more freely because Bamford's not there pressing them on every touch. Yeah. And you did sort of get, you saw that vantage point, didn't you? You really did, because Rodrigo, it just didn't seem right. And that's why we made that switch in the second half between Roberts and Rodrigo. But it's a bit bizarre with Rodrigo, isn't it? Because I don't really know what his position is.
If there was any Bamford doubters left out there, I think watching that last 50, 55 minutes really shows why Bamford is huge for Leeds and why Bielsa loves him so much. Because when Bamford went off, they were coming out with the ball from that back four so easy. They had so much more time. They weren't under pressure. Roberts, I've said before, he's a luxury player. He won't put as much graft in, which I think he did a little bit today. He was chasing and harrying, but him and Rodrigo are very similar in that respect. Rodrigo's not much of a grafter either. So both of them together was like a double whammy without Bamford in there. I think it's a weird one with Rodrigo because it's not the first time this season he's been brought off as he's come on as a sub. He alluded it to in the commentary, the Sheffield United game. And yeah, it's a chance for him to go, do you know what? This is my chance to be a number 9. And it was like a bit of huff and puff. But then you got to look at the opposition. We are playing Chelsea.
Yeah. And I think we do that quite a lot, don't we? It's like, we're so frustrated with this. And I'm like that throughout a game. I'm so frustrated with this. I'm so frustrated with that. But you've got to look at the fact we're in the Premier League, but this is the elite level of the Premier League as well. I mean, we said in the preview, Brownie, I think they've got, in terms of squad depth, I think they've got the best squad in the division. The depth of that team is just ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I thought they'd win the league this year. Really did. I mean, 2 clean sheets out of 12 now for them. It's a good foundation to go from. I just think they were number 9 away from a title-winning team, to be fair. They've got everything else. They just don't seem to have that focal point. Obviously, they put all the money into Timo Werner, which hasn't really paid off for them. But yeah, as for squad-wise, this is what I mean. I don't think, as a Chelsea fan, they'll be happy with a 0-0 at Ellen Road, to be honest.
No, so let's talk about some of our boys as well. As I said at the start, Llorente and Pascal, I thought they was fabulous. Didn't put a foot wrong. I think they read the game really well. They read balls in very, very well. Thought they were good coming out from the back. And what I liked about them today was, guess what? When you need to get rid of it, when you're on a dodgy pitch, you don't always have to go through the midfield and transition. And what I love about those two is when we're in danger, when they need to, they'll just get rid of it. And more often than not, what you will get with Bamford, obviously we didn't see it as much today, but because he's a physical striker and he's very good in that attacking third, he's very good at sort of holding the ball up and linking people, bringing people into play. And I thought those two were just fantastic today. I think they were my standouts, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, and I think we can bring Melia into that as well. Since the Arsenal game where he got caught on the ball, he seems to be going longer a bit more as well. He doesn't seem to get. I don't seem to. Before the Arsenal game, there were times where I'd get the ball and I'd be thinking, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, get rid of it." And he just seems a little bit more calm and composed now. And he's right. The same with what you just said. When it needs to go, he has been hitting it as well, which they can't score if it's 60, 70 yards up the pitch.
No. So what's Colin Sharp said here? Have you seen the stat? We have less possession. We haven't lost in 7, and 6 of those have been clean sheet. Wow, that's an incredible stat. I didn't know that.
I mean, on that with what Colin's just said, it does show what we sort of like said, that Bielsa is learning. We did seem a lot more disciplined today, a bit like when we played Leicester than when we played them for the first time in the season. It was a bit. When we went to Stamford Bridge, we were very open, whereas today we seem to be a bit more consolidated and a bit more, I don't know, a bit more streetwise. Our game management was better. We were slowing the game down when we needed to. We weren't doing anything daft. We knew we were in a game with a top team, and we were doing what we could to ensure we got something from the game. Which, with that stat, less possession, it shows that we are disciplined when we don't have the ball, because obviously the other team's got the more of the ball, so we're going to be under more pressure. So it just goes to show that if we've won 6 out of then 7 games, all this rubbish that Leeds can't defend and Leeds are all gung-ho, it kind of puts that to bed, to be honest, because we've won 6 games when we've not had the most possession. And it bodes well for when we've got the other top teams coming to Ellen Road, like the likes of Tottenham, Man United, over Liverpool. It does show that we can hang in with them type of teams when we don't have much of the ball.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously when Bamford went off, it didn't look good, did it?
No, it seemed a bit innocuous as well. It didn't really seem like he got too much. What's the right word? There wasn't too much of a collision. It just seemed to be a bit innocuous. Was it the landing? Was it? I don't know. But the good sign was that he tried to carry on, so he must have thought it wasn't too bad. When he went off, probably the right thing to do, because I'd rather him be available for Friday night than slog on for 60 minutes against Chelsea.
Yeah, definitely.
But like I've said, though, you could just, I don't know what you feel, but when Bamford's not in there, our whole focal point's gone.
Yeah, it's someone who's running in and out of the channels, isn't it? And someone who's going to be of service. And I just don't know. We don't have that option. It's like what you were saying about transfer market, Brownie, about maybe bringing another centre forward in. Who knows?
Haaland,
get him in. But yeah, mate, I think it's going to be a little bit of a shorter one this time. I think it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird with the draw, isn't it? It's a bit weird with the draw. You sort of like, you buzz in, but it's like, yeah, we haven't won, we haven't lost, but it's a great point. So we move on.
It's another point on the board, isn't it, mate? Another point towards that magic 40. I think, like I've said before, we could pack up and not play, and I think we'd still be safe. But we can finish it off by touching on Roberts if you want. I know people dying.
We'll give you 5 minutes. Go on then.
I had a tweet, and it said, Roberts had the game of his life. That was the tweet. Now, what I will say is, if that's his game of his life, then that does emphasise how, I don't want to use the word bad, but how ineffective he's been. Because if he's having the game of his life when we've scored no goals as an attacker, then the bar's not really set that high, is it? Because it's another game that is started that we haven't scored in. Now, this isn't me bashing Roberts, because I thought he was really good, but it does echo. I mean, he got man of the match. I can't, for the life of me, ever remember a game where a striker has got man of the match and the team hasn't scored a goal.
I guess he wouldn't have been categorised as being a striker throughout the entire game, would he? Didn't have 90 minutes up top. When did Bamford go off? Well, he went up top in second. I mean, do you know what? He could have won it for us, Roberts. He could have won it for us. I don't know if it was Dallas or Ayling that slid it through in about 85th, 86th minute. And he'd ran himself into the ground, to be fair. He worked hard today, did Roberts. But this is what I'm trying to say. That them moments can really push him on.
And this is the frustrating thing about Roberts. He has got abundance of ability, but it's like, it's nearly there. I mean, if he just controls that ball, he's one-on-one with Mendy in the 86th minute. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I go on.
It sounds nitpicking, but that's the difference. He could have won the game for us today. Don't get me wrong; he was by far our most attacking player. I thought it was definitely his best game for Leeds this season.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Does that not emphasise when people have been saying, "Oh, Roberts has been brilliant, his best game for Leeds this season," and we still haven't won the game? But then flipping it, you look at the opposition of who we're playing against, and that's what I mean by the level we're at now. We're in the Premier League, and he needs to build on it. It'd be a massive confidence for him today that he was man of the match in the game against Chelsea, and I'm really pleased that he's got that. But he needs to start turning performances into end product, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean, mate. It was one of those games where it wasn't set up for him at all. You know, none of us expected him to stand out, but it was a game that Roberts created a lot. I mean, I thought he was good in spaces. I thought he was good at pressing once again, as we were saying in the preview. As I said, he was good off the what I meant is he was good off the ball in all areas, really. Like you said, Brownie, the issue is that end product, and there are still a couple of times with Tyler Roberts. I thought he was very good today. In my personal opinion, I thought he was one of the top 3 players. But what I will say is, it is one of those games where he finds himself in such brilliant positions, and it's just a touch here and it's a touch there where it gets away from him when he's in fantastic positions. But at the same time, Brownie, you know, you look at the effort where he's at the bar with an incredible effort, and then you look at the one where he clipped the ball over Rodrigo, knocks it down, and Rafa, it's an unbelievable save from Mendy. I mean, he really was in the thick of it, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was definitely our most productive player going forward today. And so I was reading that comment from Pete there, and it's just building on that performance going forward and that end product. To flip it round, if you'd have dropped off Mars and you put Roberts and Rodrigo against each other today, you'd have said Roberts was our £27 million man and Rodrigo wasn't. I thought Roberts was far better than Rodrigo today, hands down. But it's just that end product. We can't keep saying, yeah, he's done really well.
Yeah, Michael 20 HD saying, but we are playing Chelsea, who spent 200 million harsh on Roberts. And I think that's what we're saying. That is the flip side of it. Is the fact that we're coming up against this. And it's that things like Brownie, you'll know, but it's those extra percentages against the elite teams. It's very, very hard to be able to get fashion chances and score goals against teams such as Chelsea, such as Arsenal, such as Liverpool. So yeah, it didn't come off for him. But on another day, Brownie, you look at us against Wolves. Adama Traore smacks the ball from 20 yards out. It cannons in off Melié's back. Yeah. If that had have happened with Mendy when Roberts hit the bar and it had cannoned in off his back, we'd all be saying, Roberts won the game for us.
Of course, yeah, but I'm not sure where the harsh comes in. We've openly said he was by far our most attacking, productive player. But when I'm getting tweets like he had the game of his life, well, what more's in his locker then if he's having the game of his life, not scoring and not setting a goal up?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to touch on this as well. I meant to touch on this at the start. I'll obviously give my opinion. Brownie will give his 2 cents. What about Jack Harrison today? Man, the guy is for me watching Jack Harrison, he's one of the most frustrating footballers I'll watch, because what he does is he's done wonderfully well this season. He really has, but I see Jack Harrison's potential really as one of the top players in this division. Genuinely, I think he's got everything in his locker. I think a lot of it with Jack Harrison is mental. I think there's a lot of things up here when he's playing. He psychologically coaxes himself out of doing things. And the perfect example was today. He gets the ball out wide 2 or 3 times. He turns in and turns back 2 or 3 times. Now he gets it the 4th time and he's up. He's facing, it might have been Azpilicueta. And this is what we pinpointed in the preview. Maybe, someone like Jack Harrison going against Azpilicueta. Azpilicueta is a great defender, But, you know, Jack Harrison is a young upcoming winger who's got a good turn of pace. What does he do? Stands Aspilicueta up, step over one way, takes the ball the other way, delivers an absolutely unbelievable ball in. Rudiger heads it out. Bamford should have actually done better. So that's it with that's it with Jack Harrison. He's got it in his locker, but there's something going on up here, in my opinion, when it comes down to consistency. Because like we've spoken about Tyler Robertson, it's all well and good talking about Tyler Robertson. He might turn up one game in 4 and all this sort of stuff, and the stats back it up. Jack Harrison's stats are very good in terms of goals and assists this year, so they're not really comparable. But when you're looking at Jack Harrison turning up for 90 minutes, it rarely happens.
No, I know what you mean, and I think for a few weeks now, and this is why I keep coming back, for a few weeks now going forward, we haven't looked threatening. We haven't. The last few games, 0 today, which is an unbelievable point. Let's not deflect away from it. It's an unbelievable point. But going forward, we got a 0 against Wolves. There's been quite a few games lately where we've not scored. My mind's gone blank who we've even played lately, because that's how happy I am with the point today. But the games lately, we've been drawing a blank, and this is where Roberts fits into it, because he's productively been playing in all them games. Yeah. I thought Rafinha was quiet today. I thought he gave the ball away. But so is it a fact that we were that defensively well organised and drilled that the attacking intent today wasn't quite as there? Because Harrison tracked back quite a few. There was one, I think it was Chilwell, where he'd got in on the left-hand side and he toe poked it wide. Harrison had tracked all the way back and put him off. I think it was just before he came off. So I think our wingers today did a lot of work going the other way, going backwards to help out, which, well, I mean, echoes the clean sheet. And for Roberts, I thought it was I've not seen that side of Roberts before. He was tracking back a lot today. He was sprinting back. He was getting back into that shape. So it almost felt that we'd learned from the game at Stamford Bridge, and we just wanted to be solid to break down. Flipping it round, we go to Fulham on Friday, and that's a game I expect to dominate. That's a game where I want to see our attacking players pinning them back, and them the ones that are having to sit up and to be hard to break down. But touching on from what the comment said about Harrison, he'll whip that unbelievable ball in, and then 2 or 3 minutes later he could run it out of play.
Yeah,
it's just, but him, Roberts, the young players. So
yeah, let's surmise it, Brownie. Let's finish it off. It was a brilliant result today. What we've all got to realise, there's 400 of you watching, and guys, I would really appreciate if you like, comment, and subscribed. It'd mean a lot. Me and Brownie don't ask at all in the videos, and we should do more often. But if you would do that, that'd be great. But it's a brilliant point for me. It's one of the results of the season. And I'm going to go as far to say, in a different way, it's one of the performances of the season. It really was, in a completely different way to your Villas, to your Evertons, to, you know, all the Southamptons. It was a very different performance today, and I just liked how we mixed it up. I thought defensively, I loved us today, what we were able to do. And a lot of people are saying, oh, Chelsea were toothless, Chelsea with this, Chelsea with that. Don't get it mixed up. Leeds were forcing them into mistakes in the attacking third, and Leeds were forcing them to go out wide and deliver all the time. And Leeds were forcing them into doing certain things, which wasn't the Chelsea way under Tuchel. So we've got to take a lot of positives from this, and I just wanted to round it off on that, really, Brownie. It's a great point today.
Absolutely. We were forcing them into shots from 25 yards, just to how well we were set up and how well organised we were. I mean, the last 20 minutes, it almost felt like they ran out of ideas. That's how solid we were today. We were so disciplined. And that's, like you say, when you touch on the performance of the season, it was really good to see us put in a disciplined, solid performance, a big platform at their back. And they were trying to thread balls through us. How many times did they try and thread a through ball that just ran out of play? They just
Brownie, how good is it though, mate, that we've established another? It's the 13th this season, but we've established another centre-back partnership in Llorente and Struijk, and we've got Cooper, who was only sick today, so he's going to be back soon. And then we've also got Robin Koch, who's coming back from injury. Isn't it great to have 4 fully fledged, very good at the minute centre backs. And Brownie, just to touch on it the minute, and I keep saying I want to end it, but me and you could talk forever about Leeds. But just touching on Llorente a little bit, I know we've spoken about Pascal and Llorente together, but individually, how much better is he getting? I thought he was absolutely brilliant today.
I noticed today that with our centre backs, we didn't go back to the keeper as much.
Yeah,
Struijk and Llorente both like to pass through the lines, and today, a lot of the time, whether it's Cooper or they like to go back to the keeper. Whereas with Struijk and Llorente, it was very much right. We're playing forward, we're passing it forward. So that was something that really stood out to me today for them. One thing I will say is when you mentioned about the injury ravageness that we've had. Today was the first time that we've had all our 4 new signings in the squad.
Yeah, wow. Not thought that.
Koch, Rafinha, Rodrigo and Llorente. It's the first time, what game is it? Game 28 that we've had all 4 of them in the squad. So that just goes to show how hit we've been this season with injuries, and we're sat 11th. So it's an unbelievable season we're having, and it was an unbelievable result today. Definitely, we've got to be the happier sets of fans. We're a newly promoted team that people seem to keep forgetting. And yeah, it was just nice to see Leeds be a bit different, be a bit more disciplined.
Yeah. Anyway, finally, Brownie, did we get a competition winner today?
I'm checking through them all, but at the minute, I feel like the national lottery here. At the minute, we only have one winner at the minute, from what I've seen. So,
is it a certain Max Metcalf?
Yeah, Max is the only one that's got the 0-0 at the minute. I'll double check it, and by past, I'll have a tweet sent out.
Great. So you have to listen, guys. You have to be subscribed, and you have to be following us on all of our socials to be in with the prize. Max was, and he has won it. And we will be looking to do more competitions in the future. We might try hook up with surprise shirts again, but I know our sponsor, Team Wall Art, is very keen to sort a package for the winner. So, guys, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. Me and Brownie will be back with your Fulham content next week. So, Brownie, thank you so much for joining, buddy.
Yeah, great. And Bielsa's still not lost for you on the spin.
It's a good way to sign off. Cheers, guys. Cheers, Brownie.